This time I have a SONY EVC100, which is a Hi8 deck, a small Hi8 deck that was shipped in. This one here is eating tapes. It won't load and unload, and all that happens is the mechanism tries to load and then tries to unload and then tries to load and tries to unload. Classic symptom of a mode switch, which we cleaned, but that's not all that's wrong with it. This one had other problems. It was masquerading itself as a bad mode switch. So let's take a look and see what the problem is and see if we can fix it. Got a package shipped in, something to service, and they used shipping peanuts. Nothing pisses me off more than these because they're going to end up all over the place. I'll be tracking them through the house. They'll stick to my feet. They'll be all over the place. I hate packing peanuts. These things should be banned, as in not allowed, ever. Because you can't unpack something that's been packed in these things without getting them all over the place. Now this, whatever it is, that was packed up in packing peanuts that I now have all over the floor, wasn't even wrapped up in bubble wrap. It was just, it's wrapped up in paper. I don't know. Let's see what shape it's in. Oh, okay, I was wrong. There's some bubble wrap under the paper. Okay. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I sent 2 power cords in with it too. Why, I don't know. Okay. Let's see what we got. What's wrapped up here? It's getting smaller and smaller. It's got AV plugs on it. It's an EVC100. It's a Hi8 little home deck. It doesn't work. I know that much. I know it doesn't work because that's why it's here. I guess first things first, we'll remove the top cover just so I can see what it's doing. Got tape in it. Get the power cord and plug it in and just see what it does. Well, since the tape's already chewed up, I can't chew it up anymore. Get the tape out of there. It's probably a mode switch or something that's dirty. Okay, I got the tape out with minimal damage. One of my test tapes. Okay, that went in okay. Just see if it'll play anything. It's likely a mode switch that's dirty, and just from operating it a couple times here, it has cleared itself up a bit. I'll find out in a minute, see if it plays. Don't have a picture. Alright, I think eject the tape. I'm gonna clean the mode switch, because it's going to need it. The mode switches always need to be cleaned on these, especially if they've been sitting around for a while. I'm going to clean the mode switch, lubricate the mechanism, and see whether... Oh, look at all the dirt on that drum. That's probably why it ate the tape. Look at the drum. Holy crap. That's dirty. This has been sitting in a garage. That's probably why it ate its tape. The tape got stuck to the drum, and it flipped the tape over. That's likely what happened. I mean, this thing's filthy. If you look at how dirty this is, I don't know where it came from. Whether he just bought it, he may have bought it off eBay, and this is the shape it was in. We got to clean the mode switch and clean that drum, for starters, because the mode switches on these are all going to be bad, just from the age of it. So that's the first thing. We'll pull it apart, pull the mechanism out, and do that mode switch, and then I'll clean up that upper drum, because that's just disgusting. That's part of the problem right there, is you know, something sticky, a film on here, and sticks to the tape, and then the next thing you know, you got tape everywhere inside the machine. And as we saw, the tape that came out, it was pulled free. So obviously, I think what happened is that when it tried to load, the drum was spinning, the tape got stuck, and it pulled a bunch of tape free, and then it shut down. Because this machine's, to say it's not very pretty in here, that's for sure. First things first, I'll remove the front faceplate. I think it just has to pop out like this. Yeah, that just pops out like that. Remove the faceplate and unplug the connector, or two. There's two of them down here. And now I should be able to pull the mechanism. These screws marked with the arrow, they come out for sure. And that will release the mechanism from the rest of the unit. It's got a couple of ribbon cables on here that probably need to be unplugged. There's the other one. There's one on this side. Oh, there we go. Whole mechanism just lifts out just like that. We have two connectors that we can undo on each side. Push that out of the way, because what I need to get to is under here. Do I need to take that off? I think I do. That should flip the board out of the way. And I should be able to access the mode encoder switch under here to clean it. Alright, lift that out of the way, and the mode switch is under here. So I think the first thing I'll do here is I'll just undo the connector for the capstan motor. So I can flip this out of the way. And I want to get to the mode switch, which is underneath here. So we'll pop out this connector. Undo that one. And now I can undo these two screws. And lift up the board. The mode switch is right down here, if you guys can see it. It's hard to see, I know, because of the little circuit board in place here. I wonder if I take out these two screws. I'll probably lift this bracket out of the way, and then you can see the switch better that I need to get in and put some cleaner into. Now I can flip this board out of the way. This is the mode switch that we need to clean. I need to give that a shot of cleaner, because it's dirty. It will need to be cleaned. Now fortunately I can, I'm just going to pop that off there. Fortunately I can clean this without having to take the thing all completely apart. There's a little space in the back here where I can just get the nozzle in there and just give it a good soaking. There. That should be enough. When it operates back and forth, it will clean itself. If I want to operate it, I can probably just undo it from here and just move it back and forth a few times. Oops. There we go. That's back in. I put a couple screws in here again to hold this board back in place. I'm going to go get the grease, and we're going to put some grease on the mechanism. There's not much that goes wrong under here on these other than the mode switch, which I've now cleaned. I'm going to grease the worm gears both front and back for the loading motor. We'll throw some grease in around here and onto the rails themselves, top and bottom. Put some down in here. And put some more over here and into the track here. Let me just unplug it here. I don't think I have to undo anything there. I'm just going to pull this one out and put it back in. I'm going to pull this other end off here because it does clip into this plug. So I'm going to release the catch on here and just reseat this one. Just like that, and then reseat this back onto the actual drum motor. It plugs into the drum motor down here. Like that. This other one plugs in over here. Release that catch. Seat this one. Close that gate and reseat the capsule motor over here. Get this under here on one side. It's got to go under there. And that drops in place. Put my screw back in. It holds the board in place. Turn the mechanism over. We're going to put some grease down onto the top side of the guide tracks here. Don't need a lot. Just a little bit's all it's needed. It will get worked in when the guides move. That's probably more than enough. You know the saying, right? Too much lubricant is worse than not enough. Try overfilling the crankcase on your car and see what happens. See how long your engine lasts before it goes boom. It's a good way to blow out all the seals on your car if you do that. Okay, everything else looks, besides it being filthy, I'm gonna clean this right now. We're gonna go and I'll get a Q-tip and some alcohol, and we'll see if we can clean off that mess, because that's disgusting. If the audio sounds a bit different now, it's because I've switched to my lavalier mic just mix things up a bit, right? So, yeah, it will sound different. Got a Q-tip here. We're going to try to clean this crud off of the upper drum. as it just looks like hell. Look at all that crap that's coming off here. Like, talk about dirt. I can't get this anywhere near the heads. If I touch the head, I could damage it. So I got to just kind of get down close to the heads, but not touch the heads with the Q-tip. I got to get them around. I can take it close to the head, but I can't actually touch the head itself, or it's going to damage it. So I got to kind of watch what I'm doing very carefully and try to keep this away from the heads themselves. That is just disgusting. We'll clean some more. Normally you don't clean 8mm equipment with alcohol just because it doesn't really do much for the metal tape. But this is not tape oxide that's on here. This is just external dirt. And it's got tons of it. This is from an external source, whether it was sitting in a garage and someone was firing their car up every morning and blasting it with exhaust. It doesn't look like cigarette smoke, it's too black. But I mean, it's on everything, like even over here. Look at over here. Look at that. You see the amount of crap that's on here? I mean, this is just absolutely disgusting. I'm surprised that this thing works. Well, it doesn't work at 8 a tape, but you know where I'm coming from. Yeah, it's pretty dirty. I don't know how this microphone sounds compared to the other one. It's just clipped on my collar, so. Plug the 2 edge connectors back in for the main board. And then set the chassis back in place and throw the screws in on the bottom to hold it in place. And get the back to line up. There we go. So that I can put the screws in. I gotta line this chassis up still. I don't think that's, there we go. Now it's lined up. I'm gonna put the screws back in to hold the mechanism in. It's probably easier to put this in after I plug these in. I got these 2 connectors that need to plug in down here. And we all know how much fun these things can be. And then this cover goes in. This is to hold I guess to hold the cables in place and so forth. Now I'll try to snap this on, and then we'll give this thing a try. See whether it works. There, I think that's together. All right, let's plug this into the TV. Put it in the test tape. I have a picture. Do I have sound? Yep. I got a picture and I got sound. That's my beat up test tape that I'm using there. I've got another tape here I can put on. Not Hi8, it's just regular 8 that I'm playing on here. That's fine. Search forward. Search reverse. Oh. Did not want to go into search reverse. Alright, after removing the tape, I see what's going on here. The pendulum arm here, I got to pull it all apart again because this pendulum arm is gummed up. That should flip back and forth very, very easily, because it has to, because it's turned when the capstan motor reverses, right? When the capstan motor reverses, this is supposed to go the other way, you see, but it's not. It's actually turning. It's turning the reel in the correct direction now, right? If I turn it the other way, this should go over here like that, so that it'll put power on the take-up side, but it's not. It's stuck. That little arm there is stuck on its pivot, the pin that it's on, which is over here. But I got to pull it all apart again to get to it. God damn. So I got the mechanism out again. I mean, the mechanism comes out pretty easy on these machines. Pop it apart. Unplug. Unplug. And unplug this one. Okay, so the little pivot is actually underneath here. I got to pull this apart again. This is not normally one that gets gummed up on these either. That's why I didn't do it, because it's not one that normally gets gummed up, but I think this machine's just been really badly stored. I've left the machine in the loaded mode as well, so we can observe what's going on when I attempt to operate it. So we can see why it's sticking. Okay, that's out of the way. Now when I turn the capstan motor, that should swing back and forth. This is it here. This should move back and forth, but it's not, because it's gummed up probably on that one right there. So I'm going to pull that lever or that wheel off. I'll pull the belt off too. Got to get the cut washer out of here. I think I got it. There we go. Cut washer's out of the way. Now I can lift this off. And this is the one that's stuck. This one right down there. I don't know if it'll lift out or not. It's probably held in place with another cut washer down here. Is there? I can't see it. Can we see it on camera? Is there a cut washer in there? I don't think so. Well, that whole thing pulled out. That whole pin pulled out. It's frozen down solid. And the pin actually came out of the base. That's okay. I can put it back in there, but I got to get this. I got to get this free. That's frozen. That's the problem. This is frozen solid. push it through and remove the pin completely. Probably just put some oil on here now and make it work. It might be the easiest thing, just to put a drop of oil on here and get it worked in so that it's free. There we go. There, now it's nice and free. Okay, let's put this pin back in to the chassis where it pulled out. Goes right into here. And then the pendulum drops back on. See, now, this is how it's supposed to be. Nice and free. You get the gear. Of course, they're you hear the wind picking up again. We get another windstorm tonight? Possibly. Okay. Now you see how that's supposed to go. Get the cut washer back on. Sorry you guys can't see what I'm doing. I gotta have my hand in the way here because I don't want this thing flying off. That's when we call them Jesus clips, when they say, Jesus, did you see where that thing went? Okay, I think I'm pushed down a little too low on here now. Just bring this up just a bit. That's better. Okay, now it can drive both the take up and the supply. You can see the reels turning. You see the supply, one side's turning over here, and now the other one's turning over there. That will fix that problem. Now I can start to put this unit back together for the second time. So you always have to be observant when you're working on this stuff. You need to know what happens when things turn, when motors turn certain ways, what is expected, what's going to turn, what gears are going to mesh. And you can get this from the symptom. Like when I played the tape, I had a picture, and when I went into fast forward, I had a picture, but I went to go into rewind, and I noticed that the take up or the supply side didn't start taking up the tape. So I knew immediately, okay, we got a problem. It's going to be on the pendulum gear or the pendulum arm, and that's exactly what it was. It's frozen. Again, I've never seen it happen on these machines before. It can be expected because we've seen it happen a lot on DAT machines and even cameras. It's to be expected because these machines are bloody old, right? These things were never meant to last as long as they've lasted, as long as people want to keep trying to use them. They were never designed to last like this. Had this machine continued to be used before it was put in storage, because I'm sure this thing's been sitting around for years and not being used. Had it been used on a regular basis, this probably wouldn't have happened. Like, I take my Betacam machine and my 3/4 inch Pneumatic SP machine, and about once a month I'll just throw a tape. I've got a tape that I recorded. It's actually the aquarium video that I've got, and I just run it. I ran my 3/4 SP today, just for that reason. Just just to make sure that the mechanisms stay moving, they don't get gummed up, because that's usually what causes it, is disuse. And the same with my beta machine. I should do them all, but the one I use for transferring stuff, I fire that thing up on a regular basis and just run a tape through it. Just a short tape, little 30-minute tape, just to let it play through, just to make sure that everything is still working and that nothing's getting gummed up. Because the worst thing for this equipment is sitting around. If it sits around and is not used, that's when you're going to have problems, just from it sitting around. Okay, I'll get the chassis back, and we'll try reassembling this thing once again. Ow. Don't know why they call it a funny bone, because it's not funny when you whack it on something. It's not funny at all. Okay, let's see if this will drop in this time. Of course, Canada Post has given strike notice, so they could be on strike as of Friday. So when this one gets sent back, I may have to ship it back using an alternate carrier. It's going to affect me because I won't accept anything. Like if someone wants to ship me something from FedEx or UPS, I won't accept it because it adds about $40 or $50 in broker fees that they charge. So if the post office goes on strike next week, I won't be able to accept anything from anybody for a while, which is going to be problematic for me for my mail-in customers. But my drum is being dragged down to nothing. Yeah, it's just something on my tape. Some grease or something was on my tape. There is still, if you look at the drum here, there's still a smudge. I'm going to have to clean this even more. Take a look at this. There's still crap on the drum that's sticking. Even though I cleaned it thoroughly, I got to clean this even more. And it leaves a residue on the tape when it tries to load. Like I wound this tape out to a portion where there was nothing on there, and now it's just left some more crap on my tape, so it's contaminated my test tape. I think this back tension arm here is really covered in crud too. That's probably why it's sticking, as opposed to the drum. This is really coated in garbage here. Look at how dirty this one is. Clean the other tape guides as well while I'm at it, as part of the maintenance. There we go. That's looking a little better. Of course, there's the damaged section of my tape there. This tape's got some damage. It's been chewed up more than once, as you'll see if I roll it forward a bit or backwards. Now there's some creases in this tape. Okay, the unit appears to be working now. I've got my other tape in here now. Search forward. I think the switch here is probably dirty. It sent a wrong signal. It sent an eject signal when I turned it to reverse search. There you go. Reverse search. Mode encoder, I think, is also probably dirty on this thing, as it happens when you get all this old equipment, right? Search forward's working. Search reverse. Search forward. Probably wouldn't hurt to throw a little cleaner into that switch. Now it seems to be working okay. That's what happens when you get old switches. See, now it's working. Forward, fast forward. Rewind. Play. I shall let the tape that's got the bit of grease on it go flying past the heads and see if it'll take it off the tape. Because this tape got a bit of grease from this mechanism on it. But now it appears to be working just fine. I got to tighten up the lock pins for the guides, as I noticed that they are they're not tight. If you try to turn the guides, they're not that, like, it doesn't take much to turn them. The alignment's not out yet, but it will go out, and because there's little lock screws down here that need to be tightened. So if I can get in here with my little screwdriver, try one of the smaller ones, see if I can get in there with one of the smaller Phillips. There, and do the same for this other one down here. And get into this one. They're awkward to get at, just because of the way the mechanism is put together. There. At least they're not, you can't just turn them. You could turn them with your fingernail before. Now they're not turning. So hopefully that'll keep them from becoming a problem. I'll show you the tape playing. Creases, of course. Of course there's creases. All these tapes are damaged. I don't think I have any test tapes that don't have some type of damage on them just because they go in so many different machines. But here, this one's playing perfectly now. So the fellow that owns it will be very happy to get this one back so that he can transfer his tapes. And I think he said he bought it off eBay. So typical eBay purchase, right, that doesn't work. I think that's what his email said. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure in his comment, in his initial email, he said he bought it off eBay and it wasn't playing. So now it is. Search forward, search backwards, play, pause. Oh, it's got a good pause on this one. Probably got slow motion too. Slow-mo forward. And slow-mo backwards. So this is a 3-head machine, this one. And it's Hi8 to boot. So there you go. This one's fixed up. So now he knows what goes wrong with these machines. When they are loading and unloading like this, it's a couple different things can cause it. One is the mode switch, which we cleaned, but it was still doing it. And the reason it was doing it was because, and of course, when I went to go into reverse search, the take-up or the supply spool didn't turn because the pendulum gear was jammed. So what happens then is if it gets stuck between the two modes and it can't turn either spool, it'll sit there and try to unload the tape, but the tape spool isn't turning. That the rotation detector detects that the tape is not being wound in, so it tries to load again, and then it tries to unload again. It does it a couple times, and if it doesn't see the tape spool turning, then it just stops. But this machine was filthy. It had crap on every metal surface in there, including the drum. You saw how much. I mean, you can still see it in here, right? I mean, it's just full. I don't know where this thing was stored, whether it was stored in a garage and the car was running in exhaust, or whether it was stored over a fireplace. I don't know, but this is not cigarette smoke because it would have been yellow, you know. But but it certainly was contaminated, and it was contaminated quite badly. Anyway, this machine now is working again. So I'll say thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.